Hey guys, hey! Welcome to Tony Award winning The People's Duchess. This is quasi breaking news. I've classified this stream as breaking news, so grab your Pamplemousse La Croix, grab your Ghetto Gastro Pop Tarts, and get in here. Have a seat. Let's go. Let's go. I heard you guys and I've delivered. What am I talking about? The chat. The chat now pops up on the screen. I had a chat here that was supposed to say world, by the way. So I had a chat ready to go, but I don't know what happened to it. It just kind of like disappeared on me. And while I was in the back end, I also added this fun sound wave. I was playing around with the features, and this software is so cool. It's so important to listen and learn. Even having been the director of a software company and owning a software company, I still love to learn. Thank you so much to the squatty that asked for pop up in the chat. This one is for you. Speaking of software companies, today's video, by the way, is sponsored by August AI, full service content management company. If you're a creator like myself and you have a lot of tasks and things that you need to prioritize that may be overwhelming, August AI is a wonderful resource to help organize your feeds in all one place with helpful tools like a dashboard and portfolio creation and management, as well as really beautiful content generation. Go to augustai.com and book a one-on-one to assess your social media needs. Free 101 crash course sent right to your inbox. It's this really cute flip book that outlines essentially everything that you need for your content and social media management. I really loved making this course, and it's actually in two formats. So the first format is this really easy to navigate flipbook, kind of pop in the video and then be on your way. Next order of February business, and without further ado, continuing with our housekeeping items. Are you guys on TikTok? I started on TikTok recently, like very recently. I'm very careful about my usage, not because it's not a great app. By all accounts, it's a great app. They design it with something called a gotcha, which in video game and gambling terminology, a gotcha is a monetization technique that pretty much involves spending in-game currency or real money to obtain random virtual items like characters or equipment or coins that you need to get into a next level. So the term gacha like originates from the Japanese word gachapon, which refers to toy vending machines that dispense those random capsules that contain prizes in them. The creators of social media apps tap into this concept and implement them in their games. Games that they're like infinite loop games is what I call them. So like Tetris, well, Tetris ends, but the design is such that it's supposed to go on and on and on and on, Bejeweled, Candy Crush, that type of thing. And yeah, they use the gotcha concept to make them really addictive. So if it seems like you're somehow addicted to social media or specifically TikTok, I'm not necessarily proud of this, but back in 2017 at the height of a Carrie in Paris situation I was in, I played Bejeweled literally every night for like 2 hours a night. And I would buy things. Yeah, I would. I did. I did that. So the games are designed with this addictive trigger mentality in mind, and social media applications have all figured out that the best way to get people to become engaged and stay engaged is to trigger that same type of reward trigger and mechanism, and offering more and more on the app itself. So this infinite scroll feature is one of those types of gotchas. It's like, what else is next? What else is next? What else is next? For fear of missing out that next thing. Very compelling, successfully garnered them billions of users. And yeah, so anyways, I got onto TikTok and came across this really interesting video that, I just kind of wanted to pop in. Let me get the tab.
A Black woman got on this app talking to her 35 students about her introduction to African American studies. And Black women all across this app was like, oh, okay. And where's the syllabus? And what else do I need to do? I mean, we unilaterally all accepted the fact that we are currently enrolled in spring 2025 African American studies. We ain't asked no questions. We just started taking notes. And then other Black women were like, that's a good idea. I'm also going to start teaching a class. There's like 35 professors right now teaching class on TikTok University. When I tell you I love us for real, Black women, I love you down. Now this weekend, I will be giving my review on everything I listed from the study guide, since we don't have Blackboard and we still got to post our discussions. We get A's over here. Now, if you need the study guide, I made a playlist to keep up with everything. It's called African American Studies. We gonna learn you something today.
Super resourceful, and the surprising aspect of it, the thing that caught my eye of it all, was that it was on TikTok, which I don't really utilize that much, but I'm so glad that I popped in just to tell people I was going live. Then I came across this information and was instantly captivated. It's so necessary and just such a great way to get information through alternative channels that aren't traditional channels of education, like schools or other institutions of learning. Hey, Novi. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining. I myself registered for the naturopathy and medicine course. It's really important to not just leave your health in the hands of anyone else, whether it's a doctor, a doula, a nurse, some other individual in the healthcare field that's attempting to help you, yes, but it's important for you to also know these things about your body and about nature, such that if you find yourself in a situation where you need to quickly assess, a life and death situation, you can do that and assist yourself prior to seeking further medical treatment. So I love the education. I'm a sponge, a sucker for knowledge, a sapiophile. I'm a perpetual student. It's really nice to see communities coming together to educate each other, passing down the knowledge and sharing the wisdom. Definitely help you to live a little bit more of a detoxed and healthier lifestyle. So, of course, I registered for it. I've been vegan for years and pay a lot of attention to my health. I also really appreciate the intimate nature of the courses themselves. It's like a Zoom class, but on TikTok. I'm always looking at how to stay fit without having to do too much. Just drink water, a few workouts a week, and then reap the benefits of that. And not because I don't want to work out more, but I don't have like a lot of time. I have a pretty heavy workload right now because I'm pretty much just starting over with my channel and things. So you know how that is. You're doing pretty much 100% of everything. This is another reason why I really appreciate the squad and women like Megan and women like these. It's lovely. The empathy is so palpable from like day one, prior to even her really arriving onto the mainstream. All of her quotes have been compiled over the years, and she has always been dropping that knowledge. From pretty much the time she was a child, she has been like, excuse me, can we not? Just, historically speaking, if you've ever found yourself surprised to learn things that took you by surprise, right? So if you're surprised to learn things like the creator of Bluetooth technology that laid the foundation for GPS was a Black woman, or the creator of the code that took the first rockets into space were Black women, you're not alone. And this is what these courses are for. Those achievements historically, and it's not just Black women. We're talking about Black women in this space right now and in this context, but really all women. The achievements historically have always been buried behind men. Just went ahead and took the reports and analytics and research and erased their names and put their own names on it and published it under their own names. Very famously, Marie Curie's husband did the same thing, won a freaking Nobel for it. Rude. Specific example, a woman named Dr. Gladys West made the first breakthroughs in radio sound wave technology that laid the infrastructure for the Bluetooth technology that later became GPS. But till this day, you have to really dig for this information, because if you just typed in GPS founder, these three pop up telling you that the Department of the Defense developed the GPS with these guys at the helm. It's rewritten history. And to the captor go the spoils. You have to consider who is telling you the information. So in this case, you have this woman who invented this technology back in the day and was stripped of that contribution to humanity. And rightfully so, these guys were later found out, but it took decades of everyone awarding them and giving them money and prizes and acclaim before Dr. West's original publications then made their way into the scientific community, and those could not be disputed. So this is a real life example of how history is always rewritten by the people who control the pen. And I like highlighting interesting historical context, especially as it relates to how prevalently some of those very same behaviors manifest in today's society. So that's how they choose to rewrite the history, so that you don't really know what happened, so that you're confused. And they do it in such a way these days where, have you ever typed in something about Meghan and Kate pops up? So that's like SEO. That's a search engine feature that I believe the people writing the articles are deliberately putting into their back end SEO, so that when you do search Meghan, they categorize and tag the women together so that one always pops up if you search the other. It's all just about maximizing the profit and extracting as much as you can out of the subject matter, which I'm not really a fan of. If you search the article about that woman who was killed in, I guess, like a park or something in the UK not too long ago, I think her name was Sarah something. The Duchess of Cambridge, I think she was the Duchess of Cambridge at the time. I could be mistaken. She might have been the Princess of Wales at the time. I'm not sure. But that article lists the Duchess of Sussex being the one wandering masklessly through the crowd at the same time that some other lady was getting arrested for standing there. I don't know what the details are of this, but what I do know is that they deliberately inserted Meghan's title so that people reading that article would be outraged that Meghan perhaps was the one who did that, even though Meghan had been in the States at the time. the name till today is still the Duchess of Sussex in that article, despite the fact that it has been years since its publication, and it's clearly wrong. Clearly and easily verifiably wrong, but they want that to be a matter of public record, deliberately the wrong person. So that's kind of a modern day example, and how that ties into the reality versus the propaganda. The palace is always spinning propaganda to make it seem like Meghan did this or Meghan did that. And it's just it's weird to me, because it's like easily verifiable stuff. This isn't the turn of the century or anything. We all have access to the same fact checking tools. We all have Google and other mechanisms by which we can actually search and uncover articles that would clarify. So I don't even understand like the thought process where they're like, yeah, let me just go ahead and say this thing anyways, and it's not true whatsoever, like even in the slightest. Yeah, I don't know. I just like to highlight the interesting historical context, again, as it relates to present day, because it's all quite relevant. It is all quite relevant. And we discuss all the things here under the guise of being a very cookie cutter type of channel. It's extremely deliberate. I mean, this is how I set my channel up, so that I can come in and say what we all want to hear in a bit of a discord. And for the most part, I am under the radar, probably because I'm still such a smaller channel. I am under the radar at the moment, and I like it that way. The goal is to grow, and I would love to reach larger audiences, but make no mistake, the quality and substance of this conversation will never change. John Jenkins, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Princess Meghan is kind and brilliant and is loved globally. Yes, she is. I couldn't agree more. The content of this channel is revolutionary according to the masses. It's revolutionary content that we talk about. It's revolutionary that we discuss why we feel the British tabloids, in conjunction with the Rhoda and courtiers and each house, we're just acting, wilding out. It's revolutionary that we even say that, I guess, because we're expected to just be happy and be grateful that we're here. And I am here to say that is not a thing. If anyone ever tells you that, just let them know that that's not a thing. Be revolutionary. Stand up, stand out, be who you are, love who you are, appreciate where you've been and where you're going. And anyone that can't see your vision obviously lives in too dark of a place. This will continue to be a beacon of hope and a space for women, for Black women, a safe space for anyone interested in genuine community and community service and uplifting each other and one's self. It's not beneficial for me to play it safe and choose to talk only about the good things, which 99% of my channel is that. I'm pretty happy. I'm a pretty happy person. I wish I had a puppy, but outside of that, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person. A handful of things I'm passionate about. Y'all know, Star Wars, Meghan, Beyonce. That's pretty much the trilogy for me. I have a lot of hobbies, and a lot of them are around public service. I've been a volunteer supervisor, inspector, and election agent for the better part of 13 years now. I have volunteered in my adopted home state of California, and I'm still volunteering in California, particularly in the affected neighborhoods ravished by the fire. There's still a lot of work yet to do. So if you are able to assist in any way, I'm going to go ahead and pop in that Altadena Girls. Oh, wait, no. It's already there. So in the description is the Sussex.com link, and they still have a list of resources that you can check out to help those in need in Los Angeles. Novi D. Hello, John Jenkins. So right. Yes. Yeah. So this is a very, very, very safe space. Unless you're the Voldemort type, like if you're perpetually negative or only feel alive when you're online, yelling in all caps, furiously clicking away on your poor keyboard, I don't know that this is the space for you, hun. And I'm not sorry. This is probably not the space for you. I think that you would probably find better community in a medical setting. Avid reader, hey. Thank you for joining us. TMCD, hello Sussex Squad. Hey girl, hey. Thanks for joining us. This is a space that I created for anyone who likes to explore these topics mixed in with the hot tea on the royal streets. I'm contemplating going back to reviewing other royals and chatting about that for my membership groups. Donna Reese, hey girl, hey. Thanks for joining our chat. Let me know in the chat if you see the chat bubbles popping up, because they are not popping up. I see them in my back end, but I'm not seeing them on the screen. So let me know if you guys can see them. Ada, hey girl, hey, welcome to the chat. Megan has the strength to go through this cruel treatment. Kindness is like sugar, it makes life taste a little sweeter. Absolutely, that's a really great way to put it. I actually love that. And totally agree. Not too much sugar though, because this is how you end up. Drink your water and stay hydrated. And in this case, really important to, mind your business. Really can't stress this enough that stress manifests itself in so many different ways, physically and mentally. It's not even cute. And I would hate for any of you to end up like this. You may not notice the symptoms right away, especially if you're living in a perpetually stressed out state. Stress can have such a negative impact on the body. And as we head into this lunar new year of the snake, a year of renewal and rejuvenation, it's going to be more necessary than ever to really purge yourself of the toxins. And that includes poisonous tongues, idolatry, gluttony, sloth, envy, hate. If you don't recognize the symptoms, please use this infographic and case study image as a cautionary tale. And don't let the lack of proper hydration fool you. They may look slightly damp and clammy and a little gray, but I assure you, nothing is more parched. There's nothing drier, more thirsty, and more parched than this. And not to sound rude or anything, but this is terrifying. This type of psychological turmoil that leads to the neglect of one's self to this extent is terrifying. Just promise me you'll drink your water and mind your business. Like I said, 2025 is the year of the snake, the year of reorder and gathering one's self. Now, the snake is often villainized due to various things. This association really stems from the origin story of the snake being a trickster and evil. But in Chinese culture, as in Native American culture and Native North American, that's inclusive of, the snake is a symbol of transformation and renewal. Hold on. Just when you think you have got it all figured out, I think it's a browser, and I think it's the chat browser. Okay, but the chat is popping up in a random place. You know what? Fine. Let the chat pop up in a random place. No worries. We'll figure it out as we go along. Thank you, TMCD. I also love this picture. Native culture also considers the snakes helpers and protectors, especially of women. They're viewed as compassionate beings willing to sacrifice themselves to save others, capable of bestowing gifts to people to heal them. So, due to their ability to shed their skin, snakes are associated with rebirth in many native traditions. Let's see if it pops up. Oh, there we go. PNC, I'm a huge fan of the First Nations culture. Thank you. Yeah, me too. It's a wonderful, wonderful culture. The lore that I grew up with really, I think, shaped a big part of my conscientiousness. I'm very much a natural person. I love to be outdoors. I love hiking. I love walking. I love all the seasons, but I really love the hot months. I'm not a big fan of the snow. Sorry, winter. You're just not that girl for me. Donna Reese. Love to see Harry incorporating the indigenous tribe culture into Invictus games. Yes, I completely agree. And you can compare and contrast yourself. Although this is an educational channel and I do love to educate and inform, my pride in the channel and this content is that the information is accurate and well sourced, unlike some inaccurate, unwell sourced, bobble-headed people who just say whatever and it's never true. I pride myself on having correct information. I made a community post earlier and just going to go over it briefly here. So this is the schedule for February. I think that this is something that lets me create the way I want to create and still stay true to my content and my videos, which I still love. I know I say this every single time. I always say, oh, this is my favorite video. I love this video more than anything. Da, 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 da. But it is. And you guys clock me every time. But let me tell you something. Even if I'm doing educational pieces like The Interesting Life of Princess Charlotte or Queen Charlotte, or I'm doing The Interesting Tale of the Duke of Sussex, where we explored the origins of the Sussex dukedom, till today, one of my very favorite episodes. I loved that episode. I loved that research, and the story of that first Duke of Sussex is wild. Queen Elizabeth knew exactly what she was doing, naming him and her the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, especially the Duchess of Sussex. That's a wild, wild tale. I will link that in the description after this live for you guys who want to check it out. It's one of my all-time favorite videos because I could not stop gagging the entire time I read that story. It was like a novella. Okay. Highly, highly entertaining, highly recommended. I am streaming on Twitch again. We are getting twitchy once again. So I love gaming. I love me a Crash Bandicoot, a Mario coin, a Mario anything, really. A new Kingdom Hearts side quest. I started with the Xbox and the rest is history. I really love it over there, but the audience is quite dedicated. And I think Twitch is one of those very unexpected sources, like Pinterest. So Pinterest is this like powerhouse for social media and SEO, but people usually neglect Pinterest when they're mentioning like social media that can really build or scale your channel, right? So Twitch is kind of like that. It's just tucked away, minding its own business, staying hydrated. But then there's also just chatting features that you can just chat on, and it's really nice. And I've kind of fallen in love with that setting. We watched the Oprah interview on Twitch. It was so much fun. They also have a very relaxed terms and conditions. I streamed, I don't know, 0.05 seconds of With Love Megan on YouTube. That would be the end of things, pretty much. I cannot stream that type of content on YouTube without the express written consent of the copyright owner, in this case, Netflix and Megan. And I don't want to. I don't want that content to be appropriated in that way and then disseminated on another platform in a way that it wasn't intended to be. So on Twitch this time around, I'm going to stream so as not to encroach or infringe on Netflix's or Megan's copyright. We're going to use clips. We're going to incorporate that into a watch party. And then from there, we can comment and, act like it's a normal live stream. Anita Edwards, great podcast. Thank you, Anita. I'm going to try to pop there we go. Oh my gosh, yes. Ada Ali, we will see you next time, hun. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you so much for joining us. So I hope to see you all on Twitch for the world premiere Twitch stream of With Love Megan. It is going to be served ridiculously hot. As you all know, the show is so highly anticipated. Seems just about everyone on Earth will be watching. Put a 1 in the chat if you knew that Charles had a jam line, a preserve line. Because I didn't. I had no idea that man had a signature, like branded, I don't know if it's Clarence House. I think it's Clarence House. He has like a signature Clarence House jam, cookies and cream. Megan's show is going to be a phenomenal success. It's going to break records. It already has broken records. I was watching Royal Sussex's stream, and I saw that it has now swelled to 47 something odd million views as of yesterday. With respect to Charles and his jam, I mean, obviously it'd be easy enough to find the numbers and see whose jam is doing what. Megan hasn't even released her jam, and the SEO, like the search when they released the campaign last summer, it was insane. I'm talking 4-digit increases in the percentage of searches for that jam. It was insane here. Cookies and cream. I found out Charles had jam when Megan gifted a jar of jam to her friends. Yeah. Same. I had no clue. What I did know was that Lizzie slang gin. I knew that she had a gin because they love them some alcohol. And I think a couple of them have not like sponsorships with alcohol or anything, but they do a lot of like events and promotions that is sponsored by certain brands that are favored by the royals, like Glenfiddich and Veuve Clicquot for the what's it called? The thing with the horses, the derby or whatever it's called out there. Polo of some sort. I don't know. I'm losing all of my like British terminology and idioms, the further and further away we get from 2020, the more my brain is just like, I don't keep up. I don't keep up with the other royals. I have no idea what's going on. That's why I watch other channels like Royal Sussex, shout out to Baron, and Still Prince Dre. And I'm on a no pop off challenge anyways. This is a part-time history channel and a chill space where, yeah, we learn things and occasionally pop off on the very deserving. But, from time to time, I guess I'll have to cover them a little bit. Let me know if you want to hear that, because I'm talking about it right now and I still don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it from myself. Even just talking about it in this moment, it's like putting me to sleep. Avid reader, they're not doing. Avid reader. Define anything. TMCD, those other unroyals aren't interesting. I really love the color of Beatrice's hair. There's something about a redheaded woman that is very, very interesting to me. But that's pretty much it. I only look at her when I'm contrasting her hair to her outfit. So if she's wearing something velour and green, that's going to be very interesting. If she's wearing bright blue to match like the shades in her eyes, she's typical in the royal sense. She shops and wears, a vampire's wife and stuff like that. But I feel like Beatrice has a little something else going on underneath the surface. I've never been able to put my finger on it. And I don't know if it's just my imagination or something, but she always looks as if she knows something else going on. And I'm not talking about the creepy dad stuff. I'm talking about something other than that. She just always looks like she's got some information, some tea for you that she just cannot tell you right now. It never gets old. And I know that it's a big career for a lot of creators to also talk about the royals, but I've kind of gone back and forth with that on this channel. And I don't know. I mean, like TMCD said, they're just not interesting. If there were something truly interesting, really, really worth the conversation, that would be one thing. But I have yet to see something really worth the conversation. Sitting here chatting about a royal, it's like watching ice melt. How many times can you watch Mike Tyndall grope a woman? Like, come on. How is that interesting? I just don't even have the words. And then there's always a secret weapon somewhere stashed away, ready to fire. Why do they always say that? Show us the weaponry then. I'm tired of hearing about the secretness of the weaponry. Bust out the weaponry. Why are you gatekeeping the weaponry? It's just all very unattractive for me. But cookies and cream. Cookies and cream. Are you hangry? Have you eaten, hun? Because I agree. I totally agree. Absolutely. But, I might want to grab a shake there, hun. Avid reader, if you don't pop off, we won't pop off. Challenge accepted. Thank you, avid reader, for keeping me accountable. Yes. I can't pop off anymore. I just think that it would be maybe popular and perhaps grow my channel a little bit more rapidly. But I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with not just not popping off, but even just covering the royals to begin with, because there's just nothing there. There's no joie de vie, there's no like zest or fervor or zeal or passion or anything. Like no one shows any emotion other than I'm better than you. That's the only emotion we ever get from these people. And they don't have to say it in so many words. When you show up to a place empty-handed, that's telling those people that you're too good for that type of charity in public. When you show up to a place and say, I'm here to learn from you, you should be the one going there offering the help. TMCD, y'all are in the chat cutting up and I love it. And you know what? I think you're onto something here, TMCD, because, okay, I looked this up, and for it to be a traditional, like a real family tree, there have to be branches on the tree. There has to be a division of branches for it to be classified as a true family tree. And from what we have observed, it's giving wreath. It's given wreath. I don't know that we can make that scientific classification without those branches, you know? Thank you for that, TMCD. They're just not that interesting for me. I mean, you can sensationalize any story you want to sensationalize. You can make all the splashy, whatever, branding, PR videos. I wish them well. Don't get me wrong. I wish them well. I don't really have the capacity to sit there and wonder about what's going on across the pond. I mean, do something, right? I'm like poking them with a stick. Do something and I will be interested once again. But until then, I'm just going to stick to the good Sussex news over here. This community is the cocoa, the cream, the creme fraiche, the bomb.com. And I often thank my lucky stars that I'm not only in it, but on the right side of history. Yeah. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get further into February's forecast for the Sussexes. So the next stop is Prince Harry making a surprise WellChild video. Avid reader, don't forget to link the Duke of Sussex podcast, please. Thank you. He has a podcast? I hope you're not talking about the fictional podcast Bros with Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because that was not real. I don't know where did you see that he has a Sussex, like he has a podcast? I didn't see that update anywhere, so correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, if that's the case, I mean, if I find it, I will absolutely link it in the description. So, where were we? Oh yeah, so he made this surprise video for the WellChild Awards nominees, and I'm gonna pop that up right now.
Each year, the WellChild Awards, in association with GSK, recognise and celebrate the growing number of young people with complex medical conditions from across the United Kingdom, as well as those who go the extra mile to care for them. They allow us to shine a spotlight on the remarkable stories of strength, resilience, and courage that they demonstrate every single day. And this year is especially significant as we celebrate the 20th WellChild Awards. It is a true privilege to honour the bravery and compassion of this incredible community. And to make this happen, we need your help to nominate the exceptional people who inspire you every single day.
I love that he got to keep this patronage. It's quite clear that it's near and dear to him. This and Scotty Soldiers, it just makes it very clear that he has a soft spot in his heart for children, especially those having a parent in the service or those struggling with disability and illness. Prince Harry is the kind of person who disproves the old adage that hurt people hurt people. I've always taken umbrage to that notion that just because someone hurt you, that provides a foundation or like a safety net or like some kind of like reasonable explanation to turn around and not only hurt other people, but hurt other people in the exact same way that you were hurt. I not only don't understand that, I reject that premise. Why would you hurt someone in the exact same way that you were hurt? Why would you want to relive that over and over? It doesn't make any sense to me. I get that hurt people might have less empathy and might have less capacity to feel responsibility for their actions or admit that they even did anything wrong to begin with. I can see how they put up those types of structures to protect themselves because of the damage that they've unfortunately been subject to. But the part about turning around and then inflicting that, this is one area I've just struggled to understand about human psychology, specifically like the psychology of, let's say, serial killers with horrific childhoods and the use of their experiences in court as a mitigating factor during sentencing. Cookies and cream, Prince Harry is a very responsible and passionate man. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, don't get me wrong, right? I feel very bad if you have experienced something that has affected you in a very negative way, especially if you had no responsibility in that experience, right? I've worked in mental health and I know that there's a deeper, more layered and nuanced conversation around these topics. But I don't accept the notion that as fully grown, fully autonomous adults living in a society that you could just do whatever. How do you not understand that you cannot just do whatever? Period. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. Harry has reclaimed that pain. He has reworked it and manifested it into a tale of triumph. And instead of allowing that experience in his formative years to shape him and make him hateful and bitter and angry and lash out, if he had allowed his lived experiences to dictate how he shows up in the world, one, he would have never in a million lifetimes, not on this earth, not on Tatooine, he would have never landed Megan. And two, he would have probably been in the same type of space that his mom was in when she had a lot of friction with the family. I still think he would have found a way to pull back from his family, maybe not in official terms, but if you listen to any of Prince Harry's interviews during those formative years, he told us over and over and over again, I will do anything to get away from this place and these people. For me, watching that historical account from the source, from Harry himself, telling us over and over and over again how he got into the service to escape his family. He signed up for tour after tour to be out there and not in the UK with his family. Like, he didn't like being around his family. I mean, like, he said it all the time. So there's an easy correlation, and it's easy to conclude that perhaps Harry might have somehow found a way to at least put a little bit of a distance between him and his family. This is why the squad will always be in their corner. TMCD, I could not agree more. Cookies and cream, spare tugs at the heartstrings. It sure did. It sure did. I just, so many elements of Spare. Let me see if I put up my original screen. Will that do anything? There we go. Oh my God, this chat is giving me anxiety. Like, why are you acting crazy? Oh my gosh, the betrayal of it all. He wrote from the heart. And I think that that's also like the thing that makes people really bitter. They want to be accepted by him. And I think simultaneously it makes them furious that they want to be accepted by not just him, but him and Megan. They think Megan is cool. They think she's chic. They think she's elegant. They think she's refined. They can't believe how good she looks. And, you know, not everybody can say the same. I mean, this is what they're working with. This is the average royal rota here. And again, this is not for anything other than educational purposes. This is a infographic on how stress affects the body. This is the image correlating to what could happen to you if you let stress and salt and not drinking enough water, not being hydrated. You see how dry the lips are? See the grayness of the skin? This is a serious medical issue. Avid reader, I'm trying to help. I'm just trying to help. But this is, you know, this is who's telling Meghan to stay in the house. This is who is telling Meghan and Harry, please stay in the house, and then turning around and purchasing Spare. This person obviously is addicted to sugar. She will buy several cases of that RO jam and then tell everybody that she hates it. But she doesn't hate it. She hates herself. And that's the main problem with a lot of people right now, is that self-hatred, that self-loathing. And just because Meghan doesn't hate herself, it's a direct attack. A woman who doesn't hate herself is extremely threatening to a population of people who have let stress affect them to the point where, look at the cones and rods in the eyes. The eyes do that because there's an unequal amount of cones and rods in one eye than there is in the other. The cones and rods that pull your eyes together and focus them are scattered in this instance, probably because of, something she's consuming. But I think also in conjunction with large helpings of self-hate every morning, just slathered all over everything, you know? So yeah, Meghan and Harry both are a very threatening group of people because unlike everyone else, unlike the royal counterparts, everyone knows how the royal counterparts are. Everyone knows what to expect. They've seen it all before. There's really no there. But here come Harry and Meghan, this very attractive, young, good-looking couple who also walk the walk. This is something new in these circles. Nobody ever walks the walk. Everyone is in heels, not designed for walking. So when she showed up in her boots, in her snow boots, and started kicking things down and rebuilding them, that was a very big problem for everybody. Now, I won't play the video, but if you really need a visual aid for this, I'm sure you are all familiar with the very first royal engagement that they did as a foursome. And I want to pop up the video so bad. I want to pop up the video so bad. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Look, suffice it to say, we all know what video I'm talking about, because this is the event where Meghan was not only debuted as part of the Royal Foundation, but also we got one of her most famous quotes from that event. And the quote goes, "Women have always been told that they need to find their voice." And I fundamentally disagree with that. Women have a voice. They need to be empowered to use it, and people should be encouraged to listen. And I know that from the top of my head. I don't have to look that up. I don't have to go anywhere and Google Meghan Markle quotes. I know that from the top of my head because it was such a revolutionary statement at the time. They were discussing some of the things that Meghan will do with her platform. And the interviewer asked Meghan, "What do you hope to achieve with this new platform that you've been given?" And then Meghan started speaking about her previous work, her life's work of helping women and girls, and also relaying that and mixing that into her increased profile so that she can continue helping women and girls. And she made this quote and preceded the quote by saying, "Oh yeah, this is a really great time to do it, because in the Time's Up era, in the Me Too era, this is a really good time to support women, and that includes men." And it was just such an eloquently stated, really polished, wrapped up statement. It shook everybody. If you look into the crowd in that video, they are on the edge of their seats. The interviewer was on the edge of her seat. She was so enthralled and hanging on every word Meghan said. Harry was beaming with pride, and I don't even know what the other two had going on. But then the questioning turned to them. And, well, I mean, I don't remember anything else after that, officer. I just blacked out. I didn't even hear what anyone else had to say, including Prince Harry, who did very well by all accounts. He did his thing. Prince Harry is a consummate professional as well, a really good public speaker as well. But I don't remember what that man said. We only remember from that day a couple of things. One, that Meghan is a consummate professional. She did not need any training. She came ready made, boots to the ground. And two, I saw that and said, oh, they are never going to do this again. And not only are they never going to do this again, but for me, I knew that was the day that did it. People might think that it was the Australia trip what done it, and the jealousy was just so sky high at that point that they had to drop some fake news about making somebody cry to try to get people to turn on Meghan, and it worked. It was a very well executed sabotage. But that was like, I think, the manifestation of months at that point of scheming on how exactly they were going to do it. I think that scheming started the day Meghan opened her mouth in that gorgeous blue Jason Wu silk wrap dress and her black aquazura buckle ankle heels, which she wore the blush version of in Sydney in 2018. I love those shoes. She just was up there looking good, sounding good. Avid reader. Oh my gosh. Y'all are crazy in the chat. Kate's brain broke when Meghan used multisyllabic words like encourage and empower. Now, avid reader, mean. Look, this is a very serious podcast, guys. So can we try and shoot for decorum? TMCD. She probably doesn't know the mean. Yeah. Well, come on, guys. Come on. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so you guys obviously are familiar with the event in question. And for me, that was the day. The day Megan opened her mouth in that navy blue flowy gown, wearing them heels, looking all good, fresh faced. It was a problem. It was a really, really big problem that has still, till today, never quite dwindled. And this is why. Look at how stress affects the body. These people are, the nervous system is shot, right? And most evident, the cardiovascular and the respiratory systems are shot. This person cannot breathe. Do you know how difficult it is to feel good when you are lacking oxygen and hydration, when you can't breathe properly because of the stress and the hatred and the buckets and buckets of self-loathing? Self-loathing isn't fat-free, by the way, guys. I don't know why that's like a popular misconception out there, but it actually is like one of the most fattening things a person can do is just stomach all that self-hate every day. You're going to have a Buddha belly. You're definitely going to develop some hypertension. I don't know. I'm looking at the links between self-hate and blowing up like a Michelin man. 'Cause something else is going on. It cannot just be the alcohol. It cannot just be the what are they? Beans on toast. It can't. It just can't. I mean, yeah, a full English has plenty of calories, but I'm convinced it's the lard of self-hate that these folks are feasting almost exclusively on. What a shame. Just be kind, be a good person. I'm just never going to be on board with the bullying stuff, the hateful stuff. And yeah, because I love Megan, but also because I don't want to end up like this. With a shot endocrine system and probably no padding left on the coccyx. Do you know how uncomfortable it is to not have any cartilage or padding on the coccyx? Google it. You know, stress affects the muscular system. It affects everything, even the reproductive system. I think that they were hoping that there would be some years, some child-free years, so that they could really lean into Megan being in her 30s and da-da-da-da. But then she pops up pregnant within, 48 hours of the wedding. And I think that also added an additional layer of stress, an additional layer of outcry. You need to reduce your stress, hun. If that's the case and you're a hateful person, reduce the amount of stress. If anything, you can at least get rid of the self-loathing, right? I think the majority of the issue comes from the self-loathing. The hate is there as a pair of shiny keys that they dangle. It's, eye-catching and it'll get the engagement, but the hand dangling those keys is necrotic and needs to be amputated because of the diabetes. Like, what are we really even talking about here? The hate is just something else. This is self-loathing speaking. You cannot possibly wake up in this shell, in this particular shell that you see on your screen right now, and be happy to go somewhere, plop onto a computer, and start typing viciously, chatting nonsense about someone that you don't know, you've never met, and your only interaction with them or around them has been extremely periphery. Perhaps you both were in the same room for a couple minutes at the same time, but that's pretty much, that's the extent that any of these people have been in or around the Sussexes. Even from the beginning, they really had a chip on their shoulders about not being introduced to Megan like they introduced all the other royal brides to the rota and to the press. Harry had his guard up immediately. So the self-hatred really was able to feed off of that from the very beginning. And yeah, you you might get a story or two out of it, but if this is the end result, I mean, who's really winning? You're typing on a keyboard, yelling, and they are probably receiving the Nobel pretty soon here. So what are we talking about? Like, what are we really talking about? They didn't just not like how Meghan looked, but they were really offended by how she showed up, how she presented herself, how it was immediately clear that all of the whole I'm better than you royal blood hullabaloo was completely and utterly disproven within a minute, overnight. That's the real issue with her. Yes, they aren't fans of her lineage, but the main problem that Meghan Markle has is that she proves that they're not better. She proves that there's no such thing as special blood, God ordained anything. There's no such thing when someone like Meghan can just walk into a place and completely turn it around. Show us the God ordained part. Show us the special. In fact, the more Meghan showed up and the more she spoke, the more comparisons were made and the more infantile the previously heralded communications with the royals became. People started looking and going back over the old articles that were calling out the royals for their lackluster performances on royal tours, for their lackluster performances at engagements, for their unwillingness to become more relatable and do anything that is even within the realm of useful. They were calling them out hard back in 2015, 2014, 2013. There was a brutal expose from the First Nations chief in 2012 when they went to Canada. Brutal. And by brutal, I mean honest. All he did was say, man, this is not my cup of tea. No, thank you. Cookies and cream. Meghan getting pregnant so quickly caught them by surprise. That made it harder to get rid of her. I agree with that. It made it harder to get rid of her, but really, I agree with the premise that they didn't want her around. But I think by the time the wedding came and went, people were resolved that she was there. Yes, on a certain level, they were always trying to break them up, drive a wedge between the two of them. But I think that they were more just resigned to the fact that she was there. Their objective, in my opinion, at that time became, okay, just don't let her get popular. Do not let her get popular. She was set to wear that Spencer tiara, and they couldn't allow that. They could not allow that. Once they got wind of that, it was, oh my God, no, come over here and pick up a tiara. Dude, just come over here. So it was very evident that they had a vested interest in controlling how people perceived Meghan. They had an extremely vested interest in controlling her. And that's really, I think, the long and short of it. The main threat is that brain, because a knowledgeable brain is a really big threat to most corporations, most people. There's a reason why they want Windsor women to be, just avatars, basically, NPC characters, basically. They don't want them to have that much of a personality. And I think that that's why the women who are successful in this clan are successful, because they agree by those rules, they play by those rules, and they never, ever, ever deviate from those rules. And then they're rewarded for that. And that's fine. I mean, not everyone can be Harriet Tubman, right? Some of y'all are just going to be left behind. And that's fine. But my problem, and the reason why this channel even exists and so many other channels exist, is because instead of just coming to terms with that internally, perhaps seeking therapy like a normal person, or I don't know, seeking a higher power, seeking enlightenment of some kind, seeking inner self-help and inner work. No, you externalize all of that and tell us that everybody else is still better. No. No. We done seen, you know, we done seen what's all going on over there. And I beg to differ. Avid reader, they wanted her to not do the job better than, yeah, that's true. And you can't dim a good woman's shine like that. Thank you for that, TMCD. Thank you so much for your chat there. Yeah, and I agree, avid reader. Thank goodness for Mama Doria. She obviously raised someone who is not just intelligent, but a real person. This is the kind of person that you want your kids to grow up and be. Someone that considers others, someone that wears their heart on their sleeve, someone that is very loving and trusting and engaging. And let's just say, for kicks and giggles, let's just say that perhaps both Harry and Meghan aren't who they portray themselves. That's really none of my business. That is absolutely none of my business what they do behind closed doors. If they get behind closed doors and start, I don't know, if they're into, I don't know, whatever. If they're into some crazy stuff behind closed doors, that's none of my business. And do you see how easy it is to just mind my business like that? I don't care about what they got going on. I don't need to see drone shots inside of these people's homes. I just don't. There's no need for that. They're not in my business and in my life like that. I'm not going to intrude on anyone else's life like that. I don't care what they're doing after they're clocked out of work and in the comfort of their own home. Everybody should be allowed to do whatever it is that brings them joy from the comfort of their own home. Their public persona is what I'm going to take at face value. And in fact, I've taken everyone at face value like that. I know I can come off a little bit, not so, I'm not very partial, right? I'm not obviously very partial to the others, but I'm a scientist at my core. And you can call me a lot of things, but you can't call me subjective. I was at a party recently and we were discussing, I don't remember what the topic was, but I had made a comment that Beyonce wasn't exactly my favorite actor because she's not, to me, her roles have been a little bit limiting, is what I said. And my friends know that I love Beyonce down. They were shocked to hear me say that about Beyonce. I feel like she was very much not pigeonholed into a certain role, but like, okay, Foxy Cleopatra, I wasn't really, I don't know, that to me that role was very one-dimensional. Her role in Obsessed was also not very nuanced, not very developed. She was just kind of like scorned housewife number one. I think Dreamgirls was amazing. I wish she would have gotten more, well, they got a lot of critical acclaim for that movie, so I guess they got everything. But it would have been nice to see Beyonce win an Academy Award for that as well, because she did such a phenomenal job. So yeah, I mean, I'm an objective person. The day Meghan or Harry come out and start, spilling nonsense, saying nonsense, then yeah, I will then say, okay, this is something that we need to look at objectively. This is problematic, or whatever the case might be. Dara Edgehill, hey girl, hey, thank you for joining us. Let me see if this chat wants to behave. Oh, look, it's behaving. Okay, great. No, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to butcher your name, but I'm going to try and say it. Nolutando Niandeni. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. Correct me if I'm wrong and the correct enunciation of your name. Good morning, according to South African time, to all beloved squatties. Good morning to you. I'm just going to call you Thando. Is that okay? Or do you prefer Nolu? Lovely name. TMCD, I also think her acting wasn't all that. Oh my gosh. I just got a flashback to Carmen's hip opera. Look, I love Beyonce. Beyonce, you know I love you, girl. I love you down. But that Carmen's hip opera, that MTV John, baby girl, that was glitter. Okay, that was your glitter. She sounded amazing, but why would an officer be tasked to take a woman to jail and instead take her to his house? The premise is what really threw me for a loop there, because that's just not going to happen. Officers are not going to just take a captive prisoner. I mean, in the worst case scenario, fine. I will acquiesce that in the worst case scenario, sure, officers, not really great. But that's the worst case scenario. Why would Mekhi Phifer's character take her home? You can't just divert property from the chain of command. I'm sorry, but yeah, that Carmen hip hopper was a crazy, crazy joint. Call me Thando. I hate messing up people's names, and I am not one to brush that under the rug. I think it doesn't take anything just to ask, right? Happy Reader, it was a masterpiece. In the annals of history, yes. Or is it the annals? I don't know if it's annals or annals, but in the vault, right, of historical context, if we were to open up the time capsule, several decades from now, yes, we would all very much enjoy the hip opera. But at the time, I just remember thinking, like, what is happening? What's all going on here? But yeah, so point is, I'm an extremely objective person, and if Harry and Meghan ever popped up one day out on the street, a la Joseph Kony, or what was his name? That Kony 2012 guy? I forget his name. No, his name wasn't Kony. The dictator in Africa's name was Kony, that he was warning us about. But the guy who was trying to bring that to attention gained a lot of traction several years ago, and then they found him wandering the streets of New York completely nude and rambling incoherently, screaming at the top of his lungs. And that pretty much killed the movement. And that would be an appropriate course of action if I were to ever see one of my faves out here acting incoherent, acting crazy. That would cause me concern, and to step back and to reassess my allyship with, my alignment with that type of character. I would never just say, no, I love them, no matter what they do. No. If you are doing the wrong thing, if you are publicly doing the wrong thing, if you're out here creating havoc and causing a lot of strife and being unapologetic about it, you don't have a diehard fan in me. This is not, a cult, right? We're not in some kind of weird parasitic relationship with the Sussexes. We look up to them genuinely because they have demonstrated goodness. And that's all that matters. You will know the good by the fruits, right? So we can see what they do and the tangible benefit to their communities. And that's all I need to see. I don't need to know if one of them has a foot fetish. I just don't. That's none of my business. And if they go to work and the people start crying about an email that was sent at 5 a.m., ma'am, Thando, No lutando means one who is full of love, a loving. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I knew it just by the way it was situated. The letters were all situated. I could tell that there was something very beautiful going on back there. Well, thank you for that, No lutando. That is very sweet. Great little fun fact for this Friday. So yeah, it comes down to personal responsibility and accountability. The Sussexes are the most mature and responsible royals I've seen. We don't know what anyone does behind closed doors. I would never allow celebrity or clout to cloud my judgment of people. And I only judge based off of what I see. And we can't judge based off of what we don't see. So being kind and being a beacon of goodness and an example for others, I know that it can be a bit boring at times, but I think we spice things up here. I think that we make things really fun here. The chat is popping. Like, y'all are really giving me life tonight. This is a really good time. Okay, so couple more things and then I will let y'all go to bed. I mean, it's Friday. Are any of you guys going out? Are you guys doing anything fun? Let me know in the chat if you still party, if you still like go out, if you still, have plans on a Friday night. Get excited. Get some shots. Play a little Beyonce. Play a little Single Ladies. Get pumped up in the mirror while you do your hair. Those were the days. And those days aren't too far behind me. I'm not much of a partier, but I do love a low-key hangout. Like the places that Megan frequents, the Cipriani's, Beverly Hills. I love that. When Abigail told the story of Megan telling her about Harry, having met Harry and feeling that electricity all through her, and they took a picture in Bergdorf, she was just like, so cute, because that is a perfect afternoon for me. An afternoon at Bergdorf's, sipping champagne, having a hot cookie, not a warm cookie, but it has to be smoldering. I asked them to put it in the microwave and just sipping your champagne. Well, I would be sipping a seltzer or a La Croix, but just looking really fancy, looking really nice, two girlfriends at coffee. The chat really gives me the best ideas, but also gives us like a sense of community in real time, which I don't get from my videos. So I think that's just one of the reasons why I've had such a good, relaxed time on the live tonight. So yeah, a few more housekeeping items. I did post this as well up on the community tab the other day, but posting it here as well. If you don't really have time to sit through a live or watch our videos, if you're pretty much on the go or just, want to maximize your schedule, the blogs are recaps essentially of each episode and the goings on in a very short 3 to 4 minute read format. I am working on having a video installation so that you can just kind of push a button and then it will read the blog to you. So stay tuned for that. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm not fully restored. So there's a lot of like perks and things that I want to kick back up again that I can't necessarily do right now just because of the fact that I'm not a fully restored channel. Let me see here. We've got some chat that I'm a little bit behind on. Kathy Hall. Hey girl. Hey, thanks for joining the chat. The Duke and Duchess do bring hope to us. They sure do. Avid reader, brunch with my friends is my favorite thing. Mimosas and Bellinis all around. Sounds like a good time. No popping off though. No pop off challenge. Hall 2025. Thando, there is always a love vibe atmosphere in all squatty platforms. I could not agree more. TMCD, thank you so much, hun. Have a wonderful rest of your night, a great rest of your weekend. I come here for the vibes. And the blog really does encapsulate all of the things that, we chat about and everything that you might have missed over the week. New membership perks, including these really cute squatty stickers that I absolutely love. They come in a couple different formats. So these will be the membership badges, and you can choose from like Prince Harry, Meghan. There's like her bags. There's her very famous black bow tie Aquazzura heels. There's a lot of different stickers that you can choose from. Thank you, avid reader. The chat now wants to pop up before I even have a chance to look at it. Thank you, chat. Thank you for the inconsistency. I really appreciate that. This software, I don't know. It's just, it's a paid actor. Just having a grand Friday myself really reminds me of another queen that I love so much. I mean, it's giving Meghan Lannister, TBH. And I don't care, because people really villainized Cersei. And yes, she was, alternative. She was an alternative situation. However, she wasn't dumb. Okay. Cersei Lannister was probably the smartest out of all of them. She outmaneuvered everybody. Cersei definitely had her moments, but I think she is a formidable queen. What was that building? Y'all? In Game of Thrones that Cersei blew up with the green fire. It's been a long time since Game of Thrones was on air, so forgive me. But remember this scene when Cersei was super angry and she had that short pixie cut and she meant business? The Sept of Baelor. Yes, avid reader. Thank you so much for that. Say what you want about her and her personal choices. She knew what to do. She just sits there sipping her champagne, looking cute, enjoying her family, and not bothering with it. The House Sussex is only going to get bigger and better from now. Really excited to cover the Invictus Games coming up here. And I'll be going live on ground in Whistler. I hope you guys join me for that. Set your notification bells. If you have enjoyed this live, please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like and hitting that notification bell. We're working really hard to make 2025 live up to the year of the snake over here. So be as snake-like as possible. Be more regenerative. Think of yourself more, uplift yourself more, be more positive. Even if you hate it, cleanse your palate, drink some lemon water, cleanse that palate and start over. You can always start over every single day, trusting yourself and shedding all that skin that you've outgrown and becoming something a little bit more refreshed and reinvigorated. You might not have as many problems this year as you had last year. I hope not. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Oh my gosh. Really? Chat Ninja. Fine. Testing this all week. And only when I go live. And all of a sudden, the betrayal. Anyways, that's going to be it for me tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this very special breaking news live stream. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your weekend. Please be safe. Pause an extra second at the green light. Look both directions. Please, please, please do not drive after having any intoxicants. Remember to be kind. And I will see you guys next time.